Imagine you own a business. You have $100 in the bank, but you owe $3,000 to your neighbors. In the real world, you are bankrupt. You are cooked. But in the world of high finance, if you are a country, this is called economic stability. Welcome back to Wealth Logic Pro. Today, we are looking at the ghost wealth of nations. As of 2026, global debt has surpassed $300 trillion. That is money that doesn't exist. It is a promise made by people who won't be alive to pay it, to be collected from people who haven't been born yet. But why does this matter to you? Because this ghost wealth is currently deciding the price of your rent, the value of your degree, and whether your savings will exist in 10 years. Why debt is the new gold. In the old world, a nation was as wealthy as the gold in its vaults. Today, a nation is as wealthy as its ability to borrow. Think of it like this. If I owe the bank $10,000, I have a problem. If I owe the bank $10 billion, the bank has a problem. Nations have figured out that they never actually have to pay back the principal. They only have to pay the interest. This creates a ghost economy where growth is fueled by credit, not productivity. We see this in the way major economies operate. They print ghost money to build ghost infrastructure to create ghost jobs. It works perfectly until the velocity of money slows down. When that happens, the ghost becomes a poltergeist. The inflationary tax, the silent theft. The government has two ways to pay for its promises. They can tax you directly, or they can inflate the currency. Direct taxation causes riots. Inflation causes confusion. When the money supply increases to cover sovereign debt, the $10 bill in your pocket stays $10, but its logic changes. It no longer represents 30 minutes of your life. It represents 15. This is the ultimate invisible force. It is a tax on the poor and the middle class that requires no legislation and no vote. It is the silent transfer of wealth from those who save to those who owe. To survive this era, you must decouple your wealth from the ghost. You need to invest in things that have intrinsic value, skills that cannot be automated, land that cannot be printed, and systems that provide essential utility regardless of the currency's strength. The strategic exit, turning the system against itself. How do you rig the game back? By using the same logic as the nations. You don't fear debt, you control it. You use low interest, good debt to acquire high value assets. While the masses are losing their purchasing power to inflation, the strategic player is using inflated dollars to pay back old debts. If you borrow $100 today and inflation hits 10%, you are paying back that loan with dollars that are 10% cheaper to earn. You have effectively made the system pay for your growth. This is the logic of the elite. This is how you move from being a victim of the ghost wealth to being its architect. The board is set. The 2026 economy is a turbulent environment, but for those with wealth logic, it is a land of opportunity. The ghost wealth of nations isn't a disaster, it's a transition. Every time the lights flicker in the economy, a massive transfer of wealth occurs. The question is, are you on the side giving the money or the side collecting it? Keep your eyes on the data. And remember, value is the only thing that survives the reset. The velocity trap, why your savings are dying. To understand why your hard-earned money feels like it's slipping through your fingers, you have to understand the velocity of money. In a healthy economy, money moves, it is exchanged for goods, services, and innovation. However, in the 2026 ghost economy, the velocity has shifted. Money isn't moving toward you, it is moving toward debt servicing. When a nation owes $30 trillion, every new dollar printed doesn't go toward building a better future for you. It goes toward paying the interest on the past. This creates a stagnant pool where your local economy feels dry, even though the central banks claim they are printing trillions. You are living in a paradox of high liquidity and low access. The money exists, but it is locked in a digital loop between big banks and government bonds. If you aren't positioned within that loop, you are effectively watching a feast through a soundproof window. The collateralization of everything. In the world of strategic management, we teach that an asset is only as good as its ability to be leveraged. The elite do not see a house as a home, they see it as collateral. In the ghost wealth system, the game isn't about owning things, it's about controlling the debt attached to them. Imagine a corporation that buys $1 billion worth of real estate. They don't use their own cash. They use ghost credit from a bank. Then, they use those buildings as collateral to borrow more money to buy tech startups. If the value of the buildings goes up, they win. If the value goes down, they ask for a strategic bailout because they are too big to fail. This is structural decoupling from risk. They have successfully moved the risk of failure onto the taxpayer, onto you, while keeping 100% of the profit. This isn't just business. It's a structural imbalance that characterizes turbulent economic environments. The hard utility pivot, real assets in a digital world. If the currency is a hallucination, what is real? The answer lies in hard utility. This is a core pillar of the 2026 Business Action Plan. Hard utility consists of assets that society cannot function without, regardless of whether the dollar is strong or the ghost wealth collapses. Think of geopolitical intelligence units. Why are major MNCs, multinational corporations, hiring intelligence officers? Because they know that in a world of fake money, physical certainty is the only true currency. They are investing in energy grids, water purification, proprietary AI algorithms, and specialized logistics chains. These are unprintable assets. You cannot print a new lithium mine. You cannot print a master's degree in international business or the years of experience required to manage a humanitarian crisis in a war zone. These are the anchors that will keep you grounded when the ghost economy enters its inevitable poltergeist phase. The arbitrage of fear, profit from turbulence. The masses react to economic news with fear. The Wealth Logic Pro student reacts with arbitrage. Arbitrage is the practice of taking advantage of a price difference between two or more markets. In 2026, the greatest arbitrage is the information gap. While the general public is distracted by sad lo-fi beats about corporate downsizing, the strategic player is looking for distressed assets. When a recession hits, people sell their hard utility out of panic to cover their ghost debts. This is the great reset I mentioned earlier. This is when the wealthy buy up the future for pennies on the dollar. They aren't lucky. They are simply the only ones who kept their logic, while everyone else lost their mindset. You must train yourself to see a market dip not as a loss of value, but as a discount on reality. Institutionalizing your success. To survive the next decade, you must stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like an institution. An institution has its own rules, its own tax shield, and its own long-term strategy. You must institutionalize your knowledge. Your academic background, your focus on organizational resilience and strategic change is your most powerful weapon. You aren't just learning theory, you are learning the source code of how systems survive chaos. Whether you are applying for a PhD in management or running a global logistics firm, the goal is the same: to create a structure that is so resilient it thrives on the very volatility that destroys others. This is Wealth Logic Pro. We don't just watch the news, we decode the future. The transition is happening now. The only question left is, which side of the ledger will you be on? Subscribe, like, and share so we can build our financially free community together.